Welcome everybody to the Do Nothing Project for Wednesday, July 29th, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is Toronto time. I'm sitting in this empty room here. You can see street outside, dog walkers, joggers, empty apartment space. This is this empty apartment underneath our apartment that I get access to right now to make these broadcasts. It's actually my little workstation to do some writing. So hope you guys are all good. If you've never been to the Do Nothing Project before, the title says it all. We don't do anything. If something constructive accidentally seems to be happening during your do nothing period, I think you should really try to note that and stop that constructiveness immediately. This is the radical, at least radical in our culture, radical practice of not doing, of just being, and doing this in community, doing this connected to other crazy people like you who seem to think this is something interesting to do. And it's my privilege to do this. I love it. We meditate, you know, in other words, although you don't need to meditate. If you want to just sit and use the community connection, the kind of license to do nothing, to doodle or to sit on your porch or to daydream, you're welcome to do that as well. But, you know, the thing with that is daydreaming, worrying, thinking, those are our defaults anyway. Those are all doings. So we're really trying to, it's the art of seeing if we can uncouple from that to really let ourselves reset. And people come from all around, and I really appreciate it. I look forward to it during my day. So I can't see the chat. My eyes are going, so I just pop the chat out and shrink it, so I don't even try to look at it because I get all stressed out about that. But I know Andrew is in there, so thank you, Andrew, for moderating, and thank you, Lily and Milen, for watching. My team, we had a little team meeting this morning. Today I thought, I was thinking about what practice to do, and I was having a conversation with two things happened. One was I was reading this great book by Marilynne Robinson called Gilead. I don't know if any of you have read it, won the Pulitzer Prize a few years ago. She's a terrific writer, and she had this description in the writing. I'll read it to you, actually, in the book. What did she say? She was talking about the I, and so the protagonist of her book is this minister from the 1950s, sort of somewhere in Middle America, and he's this really interesting character. And he's a great lover of people, and he's talking about in this quote how when people come to see him, they're talking about their problems, their challenges, and he's listening, but he's always struck, and I'll quote her here, I'm struck by a kind of incandescence in them. The I, as in the I am, the I whose predicate can be love or fear or want, and whose object can be someone or nothing. And it won't really matter because the loveliness, that is the loveliness that he sees in each person, is just that presence, that incandescence, which he describes as, or I guess the author, Marilynne Robinson, describes as shaped around the eye like a flame on a wick, emanating itself in grief and guilt and joy and whatever else. And so was really struck by that image, this idea of the I, the kind of uppercase I, as a kind of wick, the I that is also our own upstanding body. And it's a kind of wick, and around it there's a sort of flame. There's something incandescent, a quality of presence that's enduring, that's there regardless of what's happening. And that our emotions change, our thoughts change, our circumstances change, but that it's possible, I guess you could say, to tune into our experience to something that feels more unchanging. And the other part of it was talking to my sister. She just describing for me a meditation she often does where she calls it indestructible perfect circle, where she just closes her eyes and relaxes and then just sort of notices the kind of halo of her own awareness, kind of as almost a circle in experience. And she could be paying attention to the changiness of things, the sensations coming and going and moving through that, or sometimes you just pays attention to that thing itself, that halo, that circle. And so I had this idea of trying to make a little meditation around this today. I'm writing one for Calm kind of around this. And I guess what's interesting about it is it's not an idea that you get sort of in the Buddhist scene very much, or at least traditional Buddhism. Traditional Buddhism is always their emphasis is on what's changing. It's what they're saying is very common sense, that everything in the world of sensory experience is constantly moving and changing, and that none of it's happening to any specific central person. There's knowing, but there's no knower. That's the no self idea. So you could look and look and look within a Buddhist paradigm. You'll never find anything that's unchanging. You'll only ever find things that are updating and changing. And yet that's a huge contrast to Hindu ideas of the true self, which is not about orienting to what's changing. They don't deny that there's things changing, but they say that the change, all that change is happening to something that's unchanging. The knower, even though there's no knower, then that who's able to know is unchanging. So you might say awareness is unchanging, and I think you could expand that out to say other things. Like I think these qualities of what's not changing, different ones sort of appear in different people's experience in different ways. So the invitation of this meditation now will be to see for fun if there's something you can tune into that feels more permanent. Notice it doesn't actually have to be super permanent. It's more like, is there an experience of it feeling permanent? Whether it's your own awareness, whether it's a stillness that doesn't seem to move, or a quality of presence, like your own being that's there whenever you check. And it's as much a kind of mental framework, a cognitive set, as it is a thing you find. It's almost more something you create. You know there's something permanent there, and you begin to have confidence in that permanence, and you kind of rest in it. And that creates more sense of permanence and more sense of confidence. It's sort of a feedback loop. So those are a bunch of words. Indestructible perfect circle. I'll explore a practice around it. Don't sweat it if it seems totally weird what I was just saying. I'll set this up as just a normal practice, and you can just sit and exist. But I guess the thing would be just at some point just see, is there a feeling of something more permanent that you feel like you can kind of rest back in? And that can be nice, but if there's not a worry. Then there may be instead a feeling of something changing that you can also rest in. I mean, the wonderful thing is the changiness can be a sort of massage, and the permanence or the stability can be something that's very stabilizing and grounding. And sometimes both are weirdly in our experience. So it's sort of a win-win situation. I'll set it up and we'll see what we find. Yeah, and if you have your own practice you like to do that sounds nothing like this, please go ahead and do it, including all the other options of genuinely doing nothing. We'll do this for 25 minutes. I got a bit of a busy day, so I'm just going to do this meditation with you guys, and then I'll say my goodbyes. Awesome. Okay, so let's start by taking a few breaths, if you like. Just kind of getting organized. As you breathe in, stretching up the spine, finding some alertness, composure. And then the out breath, which you can deliberately lengthen, that's kind of the settling motion. So breathing out any tension as you go here. You can soften the forehead, the worry lines, and the cheeks and jaw as you breathe out. Soften the shoulders, the hands. The out breath, that's also the kind of the arriving, landing on your seat, your cushion, feeling your feet on the ground, noticing the here and now, noticing what's in your sensory experience, your immediate experience, meaning the sounds in your environment, the state of your body, whether it's agitated or calm, the state of your mind, your emotions. We'll do a bit of a snapshot here. And then, of course, the practice, really the heart of the practice, is to let all that be there. It's that realist equanimity muscle, which just says, this is what's here, and you're not going to fight against it or wish it were otherwise. You're not going to physically brace against annoying sounds in your environment, even if somebody's got the lawnmower going. You're not going to have a secret grudge against your own agitation or the busyness of your mind today. And we just start here. And this is the equanimity piece. And actually, this itself, for me, this right here is where I already begin to notice something enduring. I notice that this composure, this availability, just that somehow is related to my awareness and the openness through which I hold myself in the straight line of my spine. I kind of know and I kind of have confidence that this is just here. And we can stay right here. You can just stay in that sense of just being in this very simple way, noticing your own awakeness, your own sense of presence, and just hang out here. Or you can have that as sort of the flame around the wick, the halo around maybe a more central commitment in your attention, where you just, to get a bit of structure, you pay attention to the feeling of the breath or the feeling of the body or sounds. So you've got a little inclination in your attention towards being anchored in that way, towards that home base. So let's just settle in here for a bit. Patience, having some patience here is really important at the beginning, especially if you're newer to meditation. Just like you're not in any rush to settle. Things may settle, things may not be so settled, but you're enjoying your own company anyway. Feeling the breath, or Just being in the body, being in sounds around you. Good. So this is where we can maybe get curious about this initial prompt that we are invited to explore, which is just around, is there a sense in your experience of something sort of enduring that you can rest in, something more permanent feeling? And it might be awareness itself. All the things, the content in awareness changes, but the knowing of what of those things is sort of this through line. Or it might be the sense of your own presence, which has a kind of vitality, a feeling of being. And that may waver and shift slightly, but there's something enduring there. Sometimes it can be both. There's a sense of something enduring and there's a flickering still around its edges. There's a changiness in it. I like the line, a still point in the turning world, that T.S. Eliot line. You're sitting still in the middle of your world right now, and everything is turning around it. So there's both this uprightness that's steady and present, this composure, and then there's the changiness of the world updating itself through us. These are just sort of themes to explore if they're there, not to get too bent out of shape about. It might be something that you can notice and that's kind of pleasurable to sink into. Or if it doesn't land, then no worries, just stay with your breath. Stay with the feeling of being. It may emerge anyway, if it's in its own way or in some other way. Good, and this is another way to talk about having something to rest in that's outside the changing conditions of things. And there's this part of our experience, a part of us that's doesn't need to be fixed or updated because it was never broken. It was always exactly as it was. And that in some sense we look out from this place. It's never been shamed. It's never been touched, scratched, blemished. Just like no cloud can scratch the sky or stain the sky. There's this sort of spacious quality within our awareness, within our being, that is alive somehow. And this is something we can take a lot of comfort in if we let ourselves. Of course, these prompts might be a bit abstract. Another, maybe more simple way into it is just be. Just this feeling of being. Letting it be a comfort. Resting in that. The details of your being change, the content change and updates, but being itself is the through line, the steady companion. The flame around the wick. Just enjoying this reset. Letting things slow down and come to center. It's like this spinning top that slowly can come to rest in the very center. The energy can come to ground. It's like the whole nervous system can exhale. And even here, though, in that most quiet place, there's something. There's still life, awareness. And that's what we're pointing to. Okay, good. And as the top, of course, will restart. The spinning will restart as we go into our day, but we can direct it here in the last couple minutes in a little miniature friendliness practice, kind of what my teacher Shinzen would call nurture positive practice. Just stoking the care muscle. So you can let that be super casual, just, whoever pops into your mind's eye. You just sort of see if you can do a half smile and thank them, appreciating this animal, child, adult, place, thing, anything in your experience, something you're connected to. Might be the face of someone you know really well, or a stranger. It might be a place in nature. Whatever it is, you just sort of smile and say thank you to yourself, sort of stoking that sense of appreciation. We're kind of filling up the vessel with this subtle quality of gratitude or appreciation. And you can just stay with one thing or one person, or you can just move around depending on what comes in. Maybe thanking the community, all these people sitting with you. And you can let yourself be surprised by what random associations you come up with for the random things you end up thanking. Thank you. Nice to meditate with y'all. See what's happening with this chat. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Gabrielle. Thank you, Lindsay, Jennifer, Melissa, Franksta, Laura Lee, Christina, Peter, Andrew, Susan, Rena. Nice to see you, Rena. Nice. Brooke's saying she's feeling like our practice is our wick, our steady line that we can attend to any time, although the details will change. That's beautiful. Thank you. Christiane, nice to have you here. Hey, Daniel, Kelly. Kelly saying self-compassion was her anchor today, overwhelmed in the uncertainty in the world. You know that feeling. Siobhan. Okay, Jeff McPee's asking about, yeah, so there's a 10% happier meditation challenge right now. It's actually free. So if you're not even on the app, you can access the whole thing for free. And there's a way to add me as a friend. I think Andrew knows how to do it. I think he can paste the link here and you guys can click on it with your phones or something. Or he'll make it, maybe he'll post how to do it. He might have posted how to do it in the last Do Nothing project in the notes, in the kind of the area that describes the post. I don't see him here. Maybe he had to cut out early. But anyway, it'll be up here. So if you want to join with that, but you can, even if you don't, just go get the app and you can listen to the whole thing for free. Schmitty saying, thankful, smiling, thankful, but struggling with the doing and being and the tension between those two. Why is it so hard? That's the question. Yeah, I mean, mostly it's hard because all we do is the do. So we don't know what we never really built the being muscle. I think there's people on the opposite side of the opposite problem. They're good beers, but they're not so good doers. So, you know, I think it's about finding the balance, but really the key is finding the being in the doing. It's sort of like the, more so there's a famous line by Lao Tzu. It's like, stillness is love, movement is life. To be still and still moving, that is everything. So it's to find that sense of kind of equipoise and kind of that being like stillness in the middle of your doing. And that's really the direction that contemplative practice is kind of pointing us into. Melissa saying that she's able to settle back down to permanence when she connects down to the earth, crediting Lama Rod. Yeah, Lama Rod's awesome. He has a great, I think in one of the 10% Happier Lives, he guided a practice around this, or maybe it was in a talk with Dan. You can probably find it on his website, Lama Rod Owens, who's someone I've taught with, really great teacher. He works a lot with the elements, and the earth can be a good way, but basically just breathing up from the earth, feeling yourself connected to it. I've guided similar ones too. That can be a real help for people. Yeah, so Andrew's got the stuff around the challenges there. He's posted. Also, if you like that quote, I'll send it. I'll put it up right now, actually. Or was it? that quote, the Marilynne Robinson quote. There it is. Here, I'll post this for you guys. There we go. Oh, is that working? Oh, it didn't work. It was too long. I don't know. I'll send it to Andrew. He can post it. Sorry to be, oh, maybe it was because it had formatting in it. Let's try that again. No, won't work. Anyway, I sent the quote to Andrew, if you like that quote about the wick. And we posted in the show notes or in the description of the thing. Okay, everybody. Oh yeah, and Andrew posted Lama Rod's video. Great to see you. Oh yeah, Brooke saying Sebene Selassie does work around the elements. She does, and actually next week we're creating a CEC podcast where we're getting different teachers to guide different practices. She's going to guide a practice, and it's all being recorded, and we're going to send them out as a whole season in the fall. But we're recording her next week doing one on the elements. So you'll get a chance. You'll have a chance to experience her then in the fall if you can't find her on the app now. Anyway, grateful for this community. Thanks everybody. I'll let you get on with your day. It's 1:12, and I'm not sure if it'll be me on Sunday. It might be Andrew, but the community will be here. So much love.